Okay, so in this video I'm going to introduce you to this circuit which is called syncope. It's a companion circuit for analog glitch and circuit bent video gear, so it works alongside existing gear. And yeah, there's two main features of the syncope circuit. One is the effect send, and the other is the sync restoring. So these two features I'm going to explain to you and show you what I mean. So the first thing that I should mention about the syncope circuit is going back to the effect send feature of syncope. This works in a similar way to how an effect send feature might work on an audio mixer. So some audio mixers will have an effect send output and effect return input on the mixer, which allows you to process your audio through external audio effects. And then on the mixer itself there'll be a control for mixing between the dry and the wet signal, where dry is the clean signal before it goes to the effect, and wet is after it comes back from the effect unit. We've got video coming into the circuit, coming from this camcorder, and then video coming out of the circuit, which is going into the capture card and being recorded on the television. Now, you can notice that there's this LED that's on, so this turns on when it detects a video signal plugged into the circuit. So if you unplug the input, that light will come off. Plug it back in and it detects video and that light comes on. So this is just processing the straight video. Now, in the same way that those audio mixing boards would have an effect send and an effect return, this circuit also has that for video. So in this case we're going to use this two comparator effect circuit, which I've already shown on another video, and I'm going to put the effect send coming out of syncope into the input of the two comparator effect, and then the output of the two comparator effect is going into the video return of the syncope. And so now this completes the arrangement needed. So what you can see is that with this potentiometer in the middle of the circuit, this is the wet-dry control, which fades between the clean signal, which we can see now straight from the camcorder, and the wet signal, which is the video being sent through the two comparator effect circuit. In this circuit, you might remember, you have control over these black and grey levels of the video. So yeah, the effect send aspect of syncope is this smooth crossfade you can get between your dry and wet video signal. The other aspect of the syncope circuit that I want to talk about is its sync restoring property. So with composite video signal, between each line of the signal, where the height of where the voltage corresponds to the brightness of the image, there's what is known as a sync pulse, and this sync pulse occurs off screen of the visible signal, and it helps the television align all of the lines, keep them in sync. And when you run your composite video signal through glitch devices, usually circuit bent or sometimes custom made circuits for glitching video, often as well as glitching the visible signal, which is what you want to happen, it also glitches these sync signals, which on digital display devices such as LCD TVs or capture cards, this can cause signal dropouts and blue screens, because with the sync being distorted from the effect signal, the capture card or the TV doesn't know how to display the signal, and it just says, I don't know, no signal. And this can be a pain when you're performing live with analog glitch, is these dropouts. So what the syncope signal circuit does is it mixes between the dry signal and the wet signal, as we saw before, but it always makes sure that when it gets to the sync pulse of the signal, it always takes it from the dry, so the unprocessed part of the signal. And that means that you can put your signal through as much glitches that distort the signal as much as you like, and you're always going to get a clean sync signal out the other side. And so I'm going to just show you an example of using syncope in conjunction with the glitch circuit. In this case, I've got plugged into the syncope the BPMC fluxus circuit. So if you see here, I'm going to crossfade from the dry over to the wet. Yeah, much fewer dropouts than if it was just going raw from the glitch signal into the capture card, and that's because it's taking the sync from the original signal. And the other advantage of having it set like this is that if you get a bit lost in the glitches, you can always tone back on the syncope a bit to get a nice blend of glitch and clean. So yeah, this also is a useful performance tool. It still technically is possible to get dropouts with syncope, because syncope only restores the sync, it doesn't buffer for above or below voltages, but it will make quite a big difference with the with your live performance of analog glitch. I'm not sure how easy it will be to see this, but I'm just going to try and demonstrate to you the difference between the signal going straight from the glitch effect unit into a display, and the signal going back from the effect unit through the syncope into a display. So these are two of these cheap LCD car reverse monitors, and because they are both digital displays, they will drop out if they don't receive the proper sync. So what you can see here is the bottom monitor has got the signal coming straight from the fluxus into the display, and the top one is getting the signal coming in from syncope. So what you'll see first is that if I change the wet dry, we'll get a similar look on both screens. And then if I start playing around with the effects, you'll maybe see the difference a bit. I think, yeah, like here, the bottom one's dropped out, but the top one is still displaying glitch. You also might notice that the bottom one displays some glitches that you won't get on the syncope. This is because sometimes distorting the sync does cause some of the glitches that you like. So syncope isn't the perfect solution for capturing glitch. There's many other ways, such as TBC and recording off of a CRT directly. But this is just another tool in your toolbox for performing with analog glitch. See that it did drop out once on the top one, I think, just before. Let's see if I can Actually, it's pretty hard to with this. Oh, there it goes. But if I tone back the effect on the syncope, now we can see that glitch a bit before we lose it. So it does give you a bit more control as well of those harder glitches. The last thing to note about this circuit is that it is compatible with both PAL and NTSC. The main difference for this context is that the blanking period, the kind of sync region between each frame, is a different length. So these trim pots on the circuit board can set these the length of the horizontal and vertical blanking periods. And you might be able to notice on this display the blanking is a little bit short, and you can see the dry signal just on the side here. But with a screwdriver, you can just adjust this until it covers the whole screen. So that's something, a calibration that you can do at home, depending on your screen and your country format.